Hello again, my fellow Jeti users, and welcome to episode 5 of the assist automatic mode switching. I hadn't been planning on making this one, but another Jeti user got in touch to ask if I could make yet another switch arrangement. So it took me a little while to figure it out, but I managed it. So here it is for your delight. And what he'd asked for was a 3-position switch, which selects between off, normal damping mode and heading mode, and then a separate 2-position switch, which would switch the automatic heading to normal system on and off. So let's have a look at what the logic switching for that needs to be. Here we go. We start off, as we had in episode 1, with the 2 OR gates, which basically provide the automatic switching. But we need to be able now to switch that on and off with a 2-position switch. So we pass it through this AND switch, which would be logic switch 3, where the output from our automatic switching forms one input, and the other input is to the 2-position switch in the on position into here. That way, when your 2-position switch is on, then if the output from the auto switching goes on, the output here goes on. If the output from the auto switching is off, the output here will go off. So we still keep the toggling nature. But should you switch your 2-position switch to the off position, then the output here will be off no matter what the auto switching does. So that gives us the 2-position on-off to the auto switching. But we need some way of being able to select the normal or heading modes without it interfering with this when we have the automatic mode switching switched on. So we do this with logic switch 4, where the 2 inputs are, once again, the automatic on-off switch, again in its on position into the gate, and the normal heading switch, which is a 3-position switch, going with normal, heading and off. Normal heading forms the other position into the switch. Now, it's a NOR switch, not an OR switch. However, Jeti doesn't have NOR switches. So what you do is you put an OR switch in here, and when you assign its output as an input into here, you reverse it, and that effectively makes the output from this a NOR when it arrives here. Remember, it's a 3-position switch. The 3rd position off, you simply assign to the master function, so that you can use that in the gyro on its channel to switch the gyro off. So that brings us back down here, where we have yet another OR switch, and it's getting its output from the AND switch there, but this is being reversed. The idea being that if the auto switch is on, then the output from this as an OR switch must be on. Doesn't matter what position this switch is in. If that one's on, the output must be on, but it reverses it here and becomes an off, so that if this is off, the output here will be off. If that goes on, because of you've switched on here, the output here will go on. However, when you switch that off, the output here will depend on this. So it can toggle this, that can toggle the output here, because that will be locked in the off position. You following it? Yeah. If you don't, well, maybe you just don't like logic. It does get a bit of a struggle to follow some of these. So that's what we're going to build.
Inactivity alarm.
I'll just show you from logic switch 3 onwards, because logic switches 1 and 2 have been covered in episode 1. Okay, so here we go. We'll have a look in the menu, first of all, at the functions assignment and the gyro mode, which is what's going to be doing the switching between normal and heading, etc. We're going to assign, as we've seen there, to logic switch 5. And the gyro master switch, what I call as master switch, that switches the gyro on and off, we simply assign to the relevant position of the 3-position switch. I'm using switch A, which is my 3-position switch.
Gyro rate mode. Gyro heading hold mode.
Gyro off.
So there we go. So that switches that. And okie dokie, if we then go to our logic switches, say logic switch 1 and 2 covered in episode 1. So there's logic switch 3, which is the AND switch that allows the 2-position switch to switch things on and off. So it takes its output from logic switch 2 as the first input, and the other input is this 2-position switch I'm using to switch it on and off.
Gyro automatic mode.
So there we go. So the gyro automatic mode is switched on. Now if I move a stick, that will go on and the output will go on. I put a stick back to neutral, output off, output off. So that gives us the toggling through. But if I switch the automatic mode switch off, then moving the sticks can have no effect. So that does the job there. Onto logic switch 4. This is where we bring in the combination of the auto on-off switch and the normal heading 3-position switch. So there we go. SC, that again is the 2-position
Gyro automatic mode.
auto on-off switch, and control 2 is
Gyro rate mode.
3-position switch, and I've assigned it
Gyro heading hold mode.
in the heading hold mode.
Gyro rate mode.
And it's an OR. And finally logic switch 5, which takes logic switch 3 and logic switch 4 reversed. Let's have a look at that. See, the reverse has been pressed when we assigned it, and that effectively turns the output of L4 into a not OR when it arrives at L5. Okie dokie. And that does the job there. And then when you go into your receiver, into your channel assignment, the additional channels, you can see there the flight mode channel is assigned by tiny movement of the stick, or the flight mode channel switch itself, the 3-position switch. Any of them would trigger 5 to be going. Probably better to use the switch rather than the sticks, because if you move the stick a little bit too far, it might pick up an actual stick axis. And the assist off was done just by, moving and pushing the 3-position switch to the off position. That toggled that big enough for it to go. Okie doke, and there we go. Then come out of that into your flight modes, and you can just confirm here the active mode 3. At the moment I have got the auto mode is off, so it should move around with my 3-position switch.
Gyro heading hold mode.
There we go. Active mode 1, heading hold. Move the switch again.
Gyro rate mode.
Active mode is 3, normal damping mode, rate mode as far as I'm concerned. And then
Gyro off.
Although it says active mode 3, because it's still mode 3, remember we've assigned that position to the gyro off mode. So it doesn't matter what mode it's in here, what you do with the sticks, the gyro is off. And if we bring it back
Gyro rate mode.
to rate mode, and I switch on the automatic mode,
Gyro automatic mode.
see it's gone to active mode 1, which is heading hold. If I move the stick a little, the active mode will jump to 3. There we go. And it also works if the main 3-position switch is in the heading mode.
Gyro heading hold mode.
Once again, even with the switch there, because we've got the auto switch on, active mode 1, heading hold. If I move the stick slightly, active mode 3, normal damping. And there we go. Yet another way of having the switch set up for you. Have fun with that.